a simple woman ignored at shooting class until she surpassed the best shooter with a single shot. Imagine walking into a room where everyone's already decided you don't belong. A place where the sound of bullets slicing through the air is nothing compared to the silence of being ignored. That's where this story begins, with a quiet woman named Emily, and the single shot that changed everything. Emily wasn't the kind of woman people noticed. In her early 40s, wearing plain clothes and a soft expression, she blended into the background wherever she went. No bold makeup, no dramatic entrances. Just calm, quiet steps and eyes that had seen more than she let on. When she walked into the local shooting range for the first time, nobody paid her much attention. The instructors barely looked up. The students, mostly young, confident, and loud, gave her nothing more than a curious glance before returning to their own bravado-filled conversations. She stood in the corner, holding a beginner's pistol with both hands, visibly uncomfortable. Her first few shots missed the target completely. The recoil made her flinch. The others snickered. One of the younger men leaned over to his friend and whispered, "What's she doing here? Lost, maybe?" But Emily didn't flinch at their words. She'd heard worse before. She wasn't there for them. She was there for something else, something no one knew. Years ago, Emily had lost her husband. He was a police officer, a brave one, who died protecting strangers during a robbery. That day broke her. Not just emotionally, but in a way that made her question everything: her safety, her strength, her purpose. She had lived in fear ever since. Fear of walking alone. Fear of dark corners. Fear of feeling helpless again. Until one day, she stood in front of the mirror and whispered to herself, "No more." That's when she signed up for shooting classes. But shooting wasn't just about holding a gun. It was about facing something much deeper. And every day she came to class, she was fighting an invisible war not with bullets, but with doubt, insecurity, and pain. The instructors didn't see that. All they saw was a slow learner. A quiet woman who couldn't aim. They offered little guidance, often skipping over her during demonstrations. She didn't complain. She just listened, observed, practiced. Back home, while others watched TV or scrolled on their phones, Emily watched shooting tutorials. She read books about breath control, grip pressure, trigger discipline. She even practiced with a rubber band around her fingers to build strength and steadiness. Her hands, once shaky, grew firm. Her eyes, once nervous, began to focus with intent. At the range, she stayed late, practicing alone when the others had left. No one noticed, but that was okay. She wasn't doing it to prove anything to them. Or at least, that's what she told herself. Months passed. Emily's shots began hitting closer to the center. She didn't cheer or celebrate, just noted her progress quietly and kept going. One morning, a flyer appeared on the bulletin board. Annual club competition, open to all members. Most students were excited. Jake, the club's star shooter, grinned. "Guess I'll be taking home the trophy again," he bragged. Jake was everything Emily wasn't: loud, confident, and adored by the instructors. His aim was near perfect, and he knew it. He laughed the loudest, shot the fastest, and walked like he owned the place. When Emily quietly signed her name on the competition list, a few students chuckled. "Did she mean to sign up?" one said. "She'll freeze before she fires," said another. Emily heard them. But again, she didn't react. She had a different voice in her head, the one that reminded her why she started. The day of the competition arrived. The hall was packed. Students, family members, and even some local press. A long row of targets lined the far wall. Each contestant would get one chance, one bullet, to hit the center. Jake strutted in wearing his custom-fit gear. His group of fans cheered as he stepped up to the line. Bang! Bullseye! The crowd roared. He turned and winked. "Let's see who follows that." One by one, shooters took their place. Some hit well, others missed by inches. Then, Emily's name was called. Silence. She stepped forward, slow and steady. No fancy gear. No fan club. Just a plain gray jumper and a calm expression. Jake leaned to his friend. This is gonna be embarrassing. Emily picked up the pistol. Her fingers curled around it like they had done 1,000 times before. She closed her eyes for a second, not in fear, but in focus. She took a breath. Then another. Then, with a stillness that felt almost unnatural, she fired. The bullet soared, cutting the air like a whisper. Thud. Dead center. No deviation. No hesitation. A perfect bullseye. The room froze. For a second, even the air seemed to stop moving. Then gasps filled the room. The instructors leaned forward. Jake's jaw dropped. The students stared in disbelief. It wasn't just that she hit the bullseye. It was how effortlessly, how calmly, she did it. As if the gun was an extension of her soul. As if she had been waiting for that one moment all her life. No one said a word as she quietly stepped back and returned to her seat. Jake's confidence cracked. The instructors, red-faced, avoided eye contact. And Emily, she simply looked ahead, unfazed. For her, it wasn't about beating anyone. It was about reclaiming herself, her courage, her strength, her dignity. She didn't care about trophies. She didn't need praise. Her victory was personal. Later that evening, when the results were announced and her name echoed through the hall as the top scorer, people finally saw her. Not the quiet woman who used to miss the paper. Not the lady who sat in the back. But a force of focus and grace. They approached her, students, instructors, even Jake. Some offered congratulations, others just stood in awkward silence. She smiled softly. "Thank you," she said. Nothing more. She didn't need to explain how far she'd come. Her shot had done all the talking.